I received a question about shin splints. I'm not really too familiar with that type of injury because I don't really ever have to deal with that. But here's the question. He has pain in the shins whenever he runs, and it hurts a lot. Even when he's done with the martial arts, it hurts, and the day after even more. What can he do to get rid of this pain? I used to train somebody online that had this problem as well, and I think you should Google it and seek the advice of other people that are more familiar with it. But as far as my advice, based on what I know, I think it's just basically from overuse. So you need to like minimize the, engaging in activities or exercises that aggravate your shins and creates the shin splints. So meaning, say you're running for 12 miles and it's causing these shin splints, you need to cut that 12-mile down and maybe cut it down to 6 miles and see if the pain still persists. If 6 miles is still a pain, cut it down to 3 miles. 3 miles is still a pain, cut it down to a mile. Just keep cutting down the length of whatever exercise you're engaging in, and seeing where you're able to your body's able to handle the pain, or where your limit is as far as before the pain starts becoming a factor. So meaning you might be able to run half a mile without there being any pain, at that moment or the day after. Then you know that that's your limit. And then you want to gradually build yourself upon that, build yourself up from that. So, after that half mile, then maybe the next week you might run like, 3/4 of a mile. And it's okay, then you build yourself to a mile. Like, basically don't keep running on it when there's pain. Like, you need to give it time to heal and then gauge to see where your limit is. I think it's basically like the same limitations as if like you're strength training. Like if you're bench pressing, you gotta gradually build up your strength. You can't just like all of a sudden just throw on 300 pounds in the bench press and think that you're gonna be able to do it. You're gonna hurt yourself. You need to like gradually build yourself up. Some people might just start benching with just a bar, and then they throw on 5s on each side, and then 10s on each side, and then 15s on each side, and then 20s on each side. Gradually build yourself up. You don't just jump all the way up like to 300 pounds. Same thing with running. You can't just all of a sudden think that, I feel like running 10 miles today, and you just run 10 miles and then think that everything's going to be okay. No, there's going to be problems, You're going to have the shin splints. Some people might have knee problems. And as for myself, sometimes I have foot problems. Like there's problems with my feet when I run too long. So you got to see, you might not be able to run that long without there being pain. So figure out where your threshold is, and then gradually build yourself up from there. That's one thing that I would highly recommend. Other things that I recommend is like building your legs up in different ways that do not aggravate the shins. So rather than running or jumping, because jumping might be causing it as well, you might want to do like leg extensions on the machine. That will help build the quads. Do like work the hamstrings on the machine. If you have access to it, do some squats, do some weighted squats. Work your legs in different ways where you're not aggravating those shins. Also work on the calf muscles a lot. Do a lot of calf raises. Alright? I'd say like build up the legs that are, building up the calves and building up the thighs and building up the hamstrings. When you have stronger legs, it may put less pressure on those shins. Alright? Those are some things that I highly recommend to do. I just say that just take it easy. Figure out like every single exercise that aggravates it. You gotta like do it one by one. Figure out, does running aggravate it? Does jumping aggravate it? Does you know, what sort of exercises aggravate those shins? And then basically um, figure out where the limitation is and gradually build from there. Other thing that I recommend is this woodlock oil. You could order this online on Amazon. It's a woodlock Chinese medicated oil. I recommend to put this on there and just massage it in the shins. That should make it a lot better and make it heal very quickly. But other than that, that's pretty much my initial feedback. I know jumping rope as well can cause it as well. So you can experiment with jumping rope and see how that makes it your shins feel. If jumping rope doesn't cause the pain, then you could jump rope instead of running. Or once you hit that threshold for the running, then you can jump rope. So jump rope, do some squat jumps, do the running, work on some lunges, work on weighted squats, work on leg extensions, working on hamstrings, work on some calf raises, work on a lot of different leg exercises and see exactly what aggravates it. And once you determine which exercise aggravates it, then you're gonna have to build upon that exercise in a gradual fashion. Like, don't just all of a sudden just run 10 miles, because your lungs might be able to handle it, your thighs might be able to handle it, but your shins can't handle it. So you can only be as strong as your weakest link. So you might have the lung capacity to run 10 miles, but then your ankle's messed up. Then you're not going to be able to run it. So right now it's your shins that are weak. Something's causing the pain there. So you need to, you got to fix that before you keep going hard. You need to fix it. Same thing with the bench press, for example. Like, your chest might be very strong, but if your wrist gets hurt or you get a weak wrist, you sprain your wrist, then you won't be able to bench press nearly as much. You're only as strong as your weakest link, so you need to fix that weak link right there. And that's going to be through experimenting with different exercises to see what is causing that pain, and then which exercises are causing that pain, and then regulate and restrict how much you do that exercise. You need to be more cautious with that exercise, and don't overdo it. Gradually build yourself. So that's my main advice.